Maybe I like torturing myself. Every single time I keep going against this guy, he keeps on proving me wrong. Maybe I just like being proven wrong. What's up, everyone? My name is Jet. Welcome back to an episode of MDK Racing Victory Style. We're having a wonderful day. We have just wrapped up NASCAR at Watkins Glen. So another very quick race, just a little over 2 hours. And once again, just like the theme of road course racing in 2025, Shane Van Gisbergen again dominates. Didn't dominate as well as he did at Mexico or in Sonoma, but still took home the checker flag by over 10 seconds. Only one time in the history of NASCAR has a driver won a race more than over 10 seconds twice in a season, and that's Shane Van Gisbergen. He takes on the checker flag, leading 38 of his 90 laps for his fifth career Cup Series win, his fourth win of 2025, and he also breaks the record in NASCAR history for most wins in a single season by a rookie. Not only that, but he also moves himself into the second position, tied with Chase Elliott for the longest winning streak on road courses, currently sitting at 4. Let's take a look at the finishing results here. So in second place is Christopher Bell. Nice solid run for him. Chris Buescher, unfortunately, was not able to go back-to-back, settles for third. William Byron in fourth. And Chase Briscoe rounding out the top 5. Ryan Blaney, the pole sitter, won stage 1, led some good laps, has some good runs, but fell off near the end, finishes in 6th. How about Daniel Suarez? A great one for him in 7th place. Bubba Wallace, continuing to improve on the road courses, finishes in the 8th position, ties for his 2022 streak of longest streak of top 10 finishes with 3, but considering the 3 tracks that he did finish in the top 10 in, including one of them being a road course, that is mighty impressive for that 23 team. And I think this is also the first time ever he's finished ahead of his teammate on a road course. Reddick finishes in 9th after a very sloppy start to the race, gets a top 10 finish, with Ross Chastain in the 1 finishing in 10th. AJ Allmendinger finishes in 11th place. Eric Jones in 12th after he was able to rebound after some contact with his teammate in through the S's. 13th is Ryan Preece, got some much needed stage points in his hunt to try and get back into the top 16. Joe Logano and Austin Dillon rounds out the top 15. Austin Cindric, Zane Smith, Carson Hocevar, and Michael McDowell Spire teammates. Michael McDowell got into the back end of Carson Hocevar in turn 1 late in the race, so they end up finishing nose to tail. And Alex Bowman got some stage points but fell back near the end, finishes in 20th. Then some other notables, Kyle Busch in 22nd. We'll talk about him in a little bit. How about Riley Herbst? Considering the season he's had, top 25 finish, not too bad. Denny Hamlin in 25th. Justin Haley 27th. Sandwiched in the middle of that is Chase Elliott. For the first time ever this season, he has finished outside the top 20. Who would have thought it would happen at a road course at Watkins Glen of all places? Just an abysmal day for that 9 car. Some more notables like Brad Keselowski. He had a tire go down, a left rear tire go down with 6 laps to go, finishes in 31st. John Nemechek wrecked in on the carousel in the middle portion of the race after contact by Ty Gibbs in the 54 ride, finishes in 32nd, while Gibbs himself finishes 33rd. And some other notables, Josh Berry, he spun coming off of the carousel after contact with Ty Dillon. And then you see there Kyle Larson in dead last in 39th. Here's a look at the playoff grid with 2 races to go in the regular season. So not much has changed. Shane Van Gisbergen moves into the 3rd slot, tying Denny Hamlin for most wins in a single season with 4 and 22 playoff points to his name. On the right side, not much has changed. Tyler Reddick plus 117, just lost a few points above the cut line. Alex Bowman, though, he did lose some points. He's now within that 61-point range, so he is considered in the danger zone, plus 60. And Chris Buescher gained 11 points on his teammate Ryan Preece. 18th is Kyle Busch still, but now he is over a big gap below the cut line, minus 102. Ty Gibbs minus 125, and AJ Allmendinger remains in 20th, minus 129. So yeah, big gains below the cut line for Busch, Gibbs, and Allmendinger. They're gonna need to win the race. I don't think they have the speed to make it on points. They're gonna have to win. But my thoughts on this race. Let's first talk about Shane Van Gisbergen. This race by no means was a good race. This was a meh race, but it's days like this in NASCAR, since it is so rare in NASCAR, with all the focus being on parity, trying to make it exciting, a level playing field and all that. When we see moments like this happen with Shane Van Gisbergen doing what he's doing, granted, yes, started on VA Supercars, he's had a lot of experience on road courses, but the jump in improvement from last year to this year is immense. He first took the lead on lap 25, pitted with 3 laps to go to give the lead back to Ryan Blaney, but after that, he was on a much better strategy. Ryan Blaney was still hanging on worn tires, and with 36 to go, SVG took the lead right back and never looked away. His domination is unbelievable. I mentioned at the beginning, he's the first driver ever to win a race by more than 10 seconds in a single season more than once. No driver has ever done that. Not Gordon, not Johnson, nobody. That speaks volume as to how incredible Shane Van Gisbergen has been on these road courses. I mean, there is great, and then there's SVG great. And I'm not trying to glaze him or do tricks on it. I think the numbers speak for themselves. How he's able to not only win, but in dominating fashion. He doesn't win by just barely, by just half a second or so. By a mile, he is dominating these guys left, right, and center. It's like, how do you stop him? It seems as though there's no way to stop him. There was a great battle for second place between Chris Buescher and Christopher Bell, but again, they were in no man's land. They were on another island compared to how far ahead SVG was. It's kind of like Max Verstappen in 2023, where there's Max Verstappen and everybody else. On the road courses, there is SVG and everybody else. If we take a look at the winning streaks on road courses, like I mentioned, Shane Van Gisbergen slides himself into second place among drivers with more than 3 straight wins on road courses. Jeff Gordon was 6 from 1997 to 2000, and Chase Elliott, Shane Van Gisbergen, and Dan Gurney with 4. But Shane Van Gisbergen, he is the only one that is currently active that still has that winning streak. Tony Stewart, Rusty Wallace, Tim Richmond, and David Pearson with 3 apiece. That is by no means is bad company to have your name amongst those drivers, all Hall of Famers. I mean, absolutely impressive. Well, except for Dan Gurney, but still absolutely impressive to have your name be among those drivers. So I think we need to embrace this. I know it was not a good race, but again, it's moments like this where you need to have domination. You need to create these superstars. And the only way you can create superstars is to have moments like this, to have these drivers that are just on another level, on a godlike type of vibe on how they are racing. That's the only way you can create these superstars, is to have dominating performances like what we just saw, not only today, but throughout the 2025 season on road courses. So SVG, hey, keep killing them, because you are making history, my friend. It is absolutely incredible to see. What was also interesting to see were the bubble drivers. I mentioned a little bit of that with the playoff grid. Let's go over how those bubble drivers did. Chris Buescher did the best out of all the bubble drivers. He was the last driver that was currently in the NASCAR top 16 for the playoff grid. But like I said, he gained 11 points on the cut line above his teammate Ryan Preece. Won stage 1 and finished in the 3rd position up until he lost it on the final lap, I believe in the bus stop, to Christopher Bell. But absolutely great day for him. Did what he needed to do, earn as many stage points as he could. The driver, though, that was ahead of him, now plus 60 above the cut line, Alex Bowman, started off the race strong. I mean, finished 2nd in stage 1, 7th in stage 2. Seemed as though he was en route to have another solid day in points, top 10 in points, but his car just fell off, and he would end up finishing 20th at the end of the race, but still was able to get some ground, or at the very least maybe hold himself up just a little bit. Only lost 1 or 2 points above the cut line with help due to him finishing well in stage 1 and stage 2. Ryan Preece does what he always does. He starts off great, then in the middle part, he's nowhere to be found, but then comes on strong near the end. But this time it was a bit different. He started off great, finished 3rd in stage 1, 10th in stage 2, and 13th in the finish line. So he had about a meh day, just there in the mix, in the top 10 mix, did what he needed to do to get stage points. But again, when you go up against a guy like Chris Buescher, his teammate, you're going to have to do a lot more than scraping by. You need to fight. You need to show great performances like what that 17 car did today. You're not going to get by just scraping by 2 or 3 stage points. You got to do a lot more than that. And finally, Kyle Busch, man, started off strong inside the top 6. Until then, the first pit stop overshot his stall. He then later on in the race got bounced around by Daniel Suarez on the bus stop. And then on lap 45, I believe right at the beginning of stage 3, if I'm not mistaken, was in a bad situation. In turn 7, 3 wide entering that corner. That was not going to work. The 11 hits the 8 of Kyle Busch. The 2 make contact. Busch spins, hits the left front tire of the 11 car of Hamlin. Both suffered pretty significant damage, but again, it's just not what the 8 car needed. And I said this, I think, in the pre-race show, that I think Kyle is capable, but something is going to happen that's going to take him out of contention, and that happened. And unfortunately, Kyle Busch is now over 100 points below the cut line. He is in a must-win situation. Now let's talk about the regular season title. We know that's a very, very hot topic with the 5 drivers of Byron, Elliott, Hamlin, Bell, and Larson. Like I said at the beginning of the episode with Larson, he finished in dead last, 39th place after 6 laps into the race, spun in turn 1, reports he has no brakes. 6 laps in, and boom, already out of the race. Then he had his teammate, Chase Elliott. Like I said, for the first time this season, 2025, he finished outside the top 20, and it happens at a road course of all places at Watkins Glen. Because of that, it has dramatically flipped the standings behind William Byron. Byron opens up the gap now, plus 42 out of his teammate, Chase Elliott. Denny Hamlin and Christopher Bell, despite Hamlin's troubles, they each move up a spot, 3rd and 4th. Larson, with his issues, now falls to 5th, minus 85 points below behind William Byron. Because of the gaps, only Chase Elliott, when we go to Richmond next Saturday, only Chase Elliott can win or can leave Richmond as a points leader. Everyone else, 81, 85, and 85 with Hamlin, Bell, and Larson, they're just too far back. They're going to have to rely on Richmond and Daytona if they want to have a shot at winning the regular season championship. Behind them, Ryan Blaney, he gains the spot over Tyler Reddick. Briscoe and Bowman remain 8th and 9th, and Chris Buescher jumps up the spot back in the top 10 over Bubba Wallace, minus 194. So yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see what it's going to be like in these final 2 races with Richmond and of course Daytona being that sort of Pandora's box of where anything can happen. It'll be very interesting to see how these top 5 drivers duke it out towards the end. But let's talk about the race itself. Again, same story, different verse. I'm not going to dwell on it a lot. I mean, we expected it. Single file out the bat, very difficult to pass. It wasn't as bad as 2023. 2023 was awful. 2024 was a bit better than this year's race. It wasn't horrible by any means, but it just was not good. If I were to give a rating for this race, I'd give it a 5 out of 10. It wasn't great, wasn't good. It was just there were some moments. There were some really good battles, really good jostling for position. I will say, though, a lot of that happened during the pit cycle sequences where drivers are on old tires versus new tires. We saw a lot of those battles happening. But after stage 3 happened, or once stage 3 happened, everything just got spread out, and with around maybe 20, 25 laps ago, everything was virtually at a standstill. It was just where you were, that's where you were going to finish. So again, same story. It's a swing and a miss again for the next gen. We've gone over this, I don't know how many times, but yeah, if I were to give a rating, again, I give it a 5 out of 10. But what are your thoughts on this race? Let me know in the comment section down below. As always, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more content. Until next time, my name is Jet from MDK. Thanks for watching.